Welcome to Bonehead Weekly. We don't have a topic.
Well, I mean,
I
there's
wanna
several
point
things
out-
we can talk about.
I muted my microphone and burped that time.
That's
The
listening audience appreciates you. We do have several things. Actually, I'm kind of glad this happened because there's several things I want to talk about. Actually,
Well, can I do what I observed just as
finish?
soon as I logged in?
What?
Okay, so if you scoot slightly over to where they can see the M&M, the other way, where they can see the red M&M behind you.
Yeah, hold on. Let me move.
When I logged in, I noticed something. Now, I'm not a marketing exec, but why does the red M&M and Kool-Aid Man both have the Kool-Aid Man? If you're watching the YouTube, you'll see on above Joe. Why is this arm down? Why is it always this arm down? Is that a modeling thing or an advertising thing?
I don't know. I need to look at my other M&Ms. I haven't posted. I've got that sexy brown one over there, and every once in a while, I just look at her and go, "Hello." She never says shit back to me, so it's like every other attractive woman or
Well, I
woman
mean, a question, Joe. Will
or
you let us
man.
know? Will you let us know when she starts responding, and if she tells you to kill?
I won't tell you about the kill part. I feel like that would be between me and dark chocolate over there.
Or if you do, you tell us it started talking to you. We know it's already implied that the murder conversation has happened or is going to happen.
Well, it necessarily
That would be a
happen.
time that an attractive woman would talk to you if she needed you to kill.
She needed me to kill somebody. She's like, this Tubby Lumpkins is going to take out Edward with the large penis and the huge abs, who has destroyed my life by sleeping with Contephany.
Hey Joe, let's talk about cow mutilation.
I've mutilated a lot of cows secondhand. Let's be honest. I mutilated.
Now, in all fairness,
the kid and I had burgers tonight.
In all fairness, with most modern meat production, you're probably third or fourth hand.
Yeah, I was getting James went the same way I was.
Did somebody already chewed it for me?
I don't know how well ground was it.
I don't know. It was the lean beef. I got it on the manager special.
Yes. No, I tried to get lean. I'm trying.
Abby and I beat her to it, Chad. She didn't get that one. All right. So, James, is that what you wanted to start out with?
Yeah, it's literally when we logged in, I looked over your shoulder. I'm like, wait a second. Both Kool-Aid Man and your red M&M have that. The one arm is down, almost on. They don't have hips because they are round.
No, that's where their penises are.
But they're down on the side, and
Are
the other
those
hand
also
is doing whatever.
melt in your mouth, not in your hand?
Well, if Kool-Aid melts in your mouth.
Well, I thought you were talking about the M&M.
Well, they both have their hand there. That's the whole.
But does the M&M have penis or just the Kool-Aid Man?
It was implied that both had it.
Well, that's what I'm asking. Do the M&M's penises melt in your mouth and not in your hand?
I don't know. Turn around and find out. We'll wait.
There's not really. It's just hard plastic. It's kind of nothingness down there. It pretty much looks like your crotch.
Well, if you don't try,
red and inflamed, nothing. I'm a quitter?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said something else. I was about to say, I've got to edit that, Chad. It's not nice. But
I don't even know what you thought he said. Now I'm curious.
Oh, yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. If you think about it for a half a minute. I actually, has anyone watched, I have three things I want to talk about. First of all, has anyone watched Clerks 3?
Yeah, dude, I talked to you about this like 2 weeks ago.
Well, was I drunk at my kid's birthday?
No, you were perfectly sober.
Yeah, we talked about it after we recorded an episode because I said
I
haven't got to
watched
see it yet, and Chad said he enjoyed it.
It's perfect wrap up of the series.
Okay, I disagree. I don't think it's awful, but it definitely needed a rewrite. The only thing
that bothered me was the meta version of we're gonna shoot Clerks.
That bothers me a little. Yeah, I found myself.
Oh, sorry, James.
No, I knew that from the trailer.
Okay,
I've seen the trailer,
I found myself. I won't give away any spoilers. Like Kevin Smith already spoiled it for me, but I found myself getting aggravated by the over-the-shoulder shots, the back and forth. And those being the majority of the shots.
It never bothered me. I love that movie.
It did for some odd. I did not connect. It did not annoy me as much as Jay and Silent Bob Reboot because I did enjoy parts of it.
Yeah.
But there's a whole, and James, you still haven't seen it. So the ending wrap up with just the Randalls come to Jesus is the best way I can put it.
Yeah.
at the very end just seemed so pushed, especially after what happened. And I
See, I
laughed
didn't
a
feel
few times,
I
but
didn't
I
feel like
didn't
that at
enjoy it
all.
anywhere near as much as I did Clerks 1 or 2.
Well, no, but well, man, I can't even say I really did enjoy Clerks 3.
But it
It's
wasn't
not
awful.
it's
It's
not
better than
as
Reboot.
it's oh god. Yeah, Kevin Smith has only made 2 movies that I cannot go back and rewatch, and that's Yoga Hosers and Reboot.
I need to go back and watch Reboot. I own it because I just did not care for it so much.
I just can't. I didn't enjoy it at all.
There was scenes that I liked, and I did really like the audition scenes.
Yeah.
James is not giving anything away, but the audition scenes, there's so many great jokes that are in the first 2, even the second one. People shit on the second one. I always go, no, there was some really good stuff
I
there.
can't believe I've never heard of anybody cheating on the second one.
I had a guy at work shitting on it the other day.
Man, that's awful. I love that movie.
Yeah, Clerks 2 to me is it's where they are. I mean,
Yeah.
it's where I understand where they are in Clerks 2. Actually, I understand where they are in Clerks 2 better than I do Clerks 1. Right?
Yeah.
I understand. No, and that's
I
what
get what you're
me
saying.
issue.
I get what you're saying. The thing with Clerks 1 is I was watching it last night with Christy, and I said something, and she got
See,
kind of bored.
I watched Clerks 2 last night.
She got kind of bored, I can tell, and I actually kind of got a little bored in a couple places in it too. But we were watching it, and I said, "Yeah, the thing is," because she made a comment. She goes, "I may have only ever seen the first Clerks once," and I said, "He was the voice of my generation for a little bit. I mean, there was nothing like it.
No.
There's still nothing like it. It blew me away when I watched it.
Those first 4 films, including Dogma. Yeah.
Yeah, it just blew me away to watch Clerks. Just in the same, almost not. I knew Pulp Fiction was a superior movie, but as far as having an impact on me, Clerks gave it was a voice of
What?
this is what the shit we're saying out here. Don't hear this in the movies. Similar to what probably people in the 80s felt when they watched John Hughes at my age.
Well, I'm gonna say, and that's it. And we used to have that with, and I'm glad you brought this up because I didn't think I'd talk about this, but this is you brought up something that I've been thinking about a lot is books, right? You used to have those books. This is a book that speaks to this generation.
Yeah, I don't know that we have
And
that.
I don't, the closest we have, and I've got it over here on the shelf somewhere. But there's a book called All Grown Up, and it's about people about when it came out, it was about people that I was at the age that I was, and it's about somebody that they're grown, but they're having to figure out where they fit. And when I read it, I was like, yeah, this is it. This is good. But I read a lot, and I don't often feel, oh, this speaks to me on multiple levels. Like I read to enjoy it. And there's a lot of authors I really love reading, but very rarely do I read something where I'm like, oh, this will stick with me forever.
So you said that, and that actually brings me to another point, and I wouldn't use the word afraid, but it's not far off. I don't know when I watched something that it just spoke to me, and I was just transported, and I'm trying to think of the last great kind of, I don't know what to call it, because it's extremely metaphysical, and it's hard for me to put it in words. But talking about Clerks blowing you away, Star Wars blowing you away, things like
that was how I felt. The only movie that's done that to me, honestly, was Sorry to Bother You for me. It's been a long time. Sorry to Bother Me spoke to me at that level.
I actually like Sorry to Bother You more than Everywhere, Anywhere, All at Once, even though I liked it. But
no, I agree. I like that way better than Anywhere, Everywhere, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. I need my copy back so I can watch it again.
You were here. You could have picked it up Saturday when James was helping you.
I know.
I didn't think about it either. But I am afraid at 36 years old. Anybody laughing? Okay. I'm afraid at 28 years old that I'm
Who
not.
Who are you looking at?
I don't know. Just you two kind of doing.
He's looking at that Eminem that's told him to kill.
Who?
He looked in the lower right-hand corner of his screen, and it kind of concerned, or left-hand corner, I guess.
Chad, he can't hear me because I'm whispering. Chad, that's where the leprechaun is that tells Ralph to burn things. Just don't bring it up. It'll just enrage him.
Not to talk about Trek, but am I so old that I am either jaded, seen everything, consumed everything. Now, don't get me wrong, there are still
No.
movies I watch that I absolutely love, but they're so far and few between.
Well,
And that absolutely knock me out of my socks. I've got to watch it again. There's only a few things that I've seen that I thought, oh my goodness, this is amazing. I have got to rewatch it just as soon as I can.
Well,
Really?
here is I agree with what you're saying, and I think that's one of the things that I often think about
It's
is
depressing, James.
so my memories the other day, it had been
Yeah.
today, maybe yesterday, but it's been in the last 48 hours on Facebook, was where I went to the Kentucky and I watched Mr. Holmes with Ian McKellen, and
Yeah.
I love that film.
It's a good
I
film.
haven't picked it up yet. I need to pick it up. I love it. But I was like, it's been a long time since I've had an experience like that, right? And I'm not one of these people that, if you've listened to the show before, I enjoy superhero films as much as the next one. But I was actually just thinking, when was the last, I don't know, twist I didn't see coming, or when was the last? Because I've read the comic books, I've read, and I just don't know. There's so much. I'll be honest. I'm reading a book right now. It's actually a book for a class I'm taking in the fall, and it's nonfiction, obviously. But it's been more fascinating than it has any right to be something that's being used as a textbook in class. But and I think the reason it's so appealing is it's looking at a time period. It's looking at the Middle Ages, but it's doing it in a way that honestly is like they're not that different from us. I mean, they don't have the technology we have, but there are concerns of, okay, I've got to work, I've got to have a profession, I've got to have, if I want to move in the society, and so it's been
You're
a
losing me on
fascinating
this one.
read. No. But my point is, for somebody that loves science fiction and fantasy and over the top stuff, I had a similar moment to you where I'm like, am I losing what I used to love? Is it a me thing? Or is it that I've now read so much of it that I became, I don't want to use the term elitist, but maybe discerning? Or maybe
Or
elitist.
calloused.
Callous, maybe that's it.
Yeah, I don't know, and why I'm having a therapy session on our show at episode 289 or 290. I don't know, but
I don't know why
and
you
it
think
was
we could possibly help.
I don't know that you can possibly help. I really want to see Oppenheimer this weekend. I doubt that I get to see it. I still haven't seen Indiana Jones yet, but
Neither.
I don't know that I have any. As much as I read these wonderful things and see it, and I love Christopher Nolan films, 80% of them are fantastic, better than almost anything out there. Is it going to blow? Well, I guess blow me away is probably the wrong term when it comes to Oppenheimer. Is Barbie going to blow me away?
Don't know.
I
Maybe,
don't know.
but
I know
I've
it's
read some great reviews of
reviews. I
Barbie
have too.
that said
So
that
it's
it actually, you can watch it as escapism or you can watch it as a commentary. As a matter of fact, there was one review that flat out said, I don't know how Mattel let him get away from this because it's critical about Mattel.
Yeah, and Greta Gerwig is an extremely talented actress and clearly an talented director and entertainer who's directing it. I'll probably check it out eventually. I just can't make myself just go buy a ticket and sit and pink an early weekend. I've known people who've had their tickets for a couple of weeks and picking out their different outfits that they're going to wear,
Oh yeah,
which is cool. Once you get some to the theater, Chris,
yeah.
somebody asked Nolan about it the other day about this whole Barbenheimer thing about this weekend. He goes, "That's awesome. Whatever makes them go to the cinema."
Yeah, no, and that's it. Actually, our Twitter account retweeted because they announced that Saul 10 or Saul X, whatever, and what's the other movie? Oh, the new Paw Patrol movie coming out the same day. And I'm like, listen, I tweeted this through Bonehead. I was like, if you're going to go and pull a Barbenheimer, you might as well pull a Saw Patrol
I
and
agree.
go see both of these back to back. Now, don't take your kids to both of them. Leave them at home for
leave
Paw
them
Patrol. That's just for you.
James,
That's
you
just
beat me
for
to
you.
the joke. That's a gift for the family.
That's you need to be fully enraptured. You don't need your kid distracting you from the Paw Patrol.
No.
But no, I think that's, I don't know, because I want to see Oppenheimer. And actually, oddly enough, my son wants to see Oppenheimer, and I have to keep telling him, listen, son. I said, admittedly, I was probably about your age when I saw Schindler's List in the theater.
How old is he? 32?
He is, hold on, I'm doing math in my head. He's
Is he 14?
No, he's
11?
11. Yeah, he's 11.
I was, hold on now. I was 13.
Yeah.
They took us as a school. It
No,
was a
I
school
went
trip.
and saw Schindler's List with my first R-rated film in a theater. And
That's a lot.
honestly, the reason my parents let me see it was it's historical. You need to know this happened. And so yeah, my first R-rated film. Everybody else is like, I got to see Aliens. Now I got to see Schindler's List. Let that burn into your head for a while.
Yeah,
But
so I'm worried. Well, I can't use the word worried, but if I sit around and think about it, I get slightly depressed. And well, I shouldn't say depressed. There's other things legitimately depressed. I don't know the word I'm trying to find. I don't know exactly how
ennui. It's an ennui. You have this sense of
I can't because I'm
a
not
lack of amazement.
It's a lack of amazement, and everything's streaming, and everything's at my touch. I was on Tubi the other day trying to find a horror film to review for Scarefest. In fact, this week for Scarefest, I couldn't find any damn thing I was even interested in watching. I did a review for Halloween 3 going, this is the story, this is a reason, go back and watch it. It's kind of slow, but it's fun, and I wish they'd done
I
a
like
ton of
Halloween
these.
3. Yeah.
I wish
I
they'd
like
done a
Halloween.
ton of them. In
Yeah.
retrospect, I wish it had hit, and I wish that. And by the way, it wasn't a big bomb. It cost $2.5 million and made $14 million the summer '82 or fall of '82. It
Yeah.
was by no means a huge bomb. It just didn't.
Even by the new studio math of it having to make 3 times what it quote unquote needed to.
Yeah,
it more than did it.
It's more than did it. So going back and looking at it, and because I couldn't find anything I even wanted to watch.
Which, by the way,
That and finding the time, that's also a pain in the ass.
well, as I say, and the other thing is you now have more distractions than
I
you used
have
to
a
have as
ton
well.
of distractions. I try, and last night I'd had Clerks 3 probably since last week. I got it. It was on Prime Day for $7. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, Blu-ray, send it to my house. I own all the rest of them, mine as well.
Yeah.
And
I was
that's
gonna
been
get
sitting
it.
here almost 2 weeks, a week and a half.
Yeah.
Before I finally put it in.
No, the last movie I picked up and watched the day I bought it was Sisu.
Yeah. It's
was
tough.
Sisu.
So we
Which
have,
is I enjoyed the heck out of it.
so we
Yeah.
all have professional jobs, we all have children. And what did you call me? Anjou?
Ennui.
Ennui.
Well, I don't. I've got one over here. We play the Mario Kart on it. I ain't
But-
on it that much. I ain't on that Wii that much.
By the way, speaking of film,
Crickets.
I don't know why this is getting. Actually, I know exactly why it's getting to me. And not being able to relate to something. So, I've watched these Mission Impossible films.
Mm-hmm. Did you go see the new one?
No, I haven't. But what got to me, I was sitting thinking, I was like, and this is gonna this. By the way, if we get comments and they're directed to me at all, it's going to be I'm gonna make people mad here. I like the Mission Impossible films as fun
Me too.
escapism.
I do too.
They're, but
Especially 3 on.
I can't. I found myself realizing I don't care about Ethan Hunt.
No. Nor do you remember anything about the damn movie 24 hours later.
No, and so I had a moment where, honestly, and this is because I'm a fanboy for Indiana Jones. How in the world is Ethan Hunt in movie 407? I know it's not 407, but how is that doing so well? And they're already writing off. There's actually, I read today that they're now considering the new Indiana Jones film to be a bigger bomb than John Carter.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, how? Because to me, Indiana Jones is a much more engaging character. Whereas Ethan Hunt, I don't, and it's not, I'm not knocking Tom Cruise. I'm not
Well,
knocking
he's
those
not.
films.
It's not an actual character. It's just Tom Cruise being Tom Cruise.
Yeah,
It's Tom Cruise doing stunts.
It's Tom Cruise running and doing stunts. Yeah, there's
Yeah,
not much.
and I appreciate that. Don't get me wrong. I am entertained.
I agree
But-
with you, James. I really do. I don't have a problem with them, and when I watch them, they are entertaining. But I could not tell you the plot 24 to 48 hours later.
But I don't get the. So I was reading online, and there was people saying that it was like, well, if they would have done this with Indiana Jones, I'm like, but that's not what Indiana Jones is.
So, and that's fascinating because there's a lady at work asked me this weekend. She goes, "You see the new Indiana Jones?" And I was like, "No." And she's like, "Don't. It's such a piece of shit." She had, I mean, anger I
I'm
shouldn't say
fascinated by
anger,
that.
but she was just, and I said, well, did you like she's not that, well, it's Meg, yeah, Kay, you've known her
Yeah.
for years. And I said, she's not that young. She's probably in her 30s. And I said, well, what about, did you enjoy it? I love the first three. And I was like, well, Crystal Skull. And she's like, well, I actually never bothered to watch it. And she goes, we love Indiana Jones. And this movie was such a, oh my God. It was just go out of your way to avoid it. And now it makes me want to see it even more because I know you really enjoyed it. So what is the damn problem with the movie?
I think the problem with the movie is, and this, I hope this doesn't come across as sexist because I don't mean it this way. You have to have been beaten down to enjoy the movie a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Like the movie is not,
life.
yeah,
Age and life.
the movie is not going to join him when everything's going great. And I think so many people, even people that watched Crystal Skull, thought, oh, what's going to come in and it's going to be one last adventure and it's going to be fun. And I'm glad it didn't do that. Once you all see it, y'all may think it's terrible. But there was something about it, and I will admit, like the twist at the end, it blows my mind a little bit, that every Christian relic he goes after, people are like, yay, fun, whatever. Anytime it deviates from that, because it used to be that Temple of Doom was the one that was terrible.
Yeah.
If it's
Even
not,
Spielberg is the one even Spielberg shit on the movie. Even he said it was too dark.
Yeah, he apologized to Lucas for making his work too dark. But I think it's really funny that those are the movies that get, because this one is not a Christian relic. It's and yes, it plays with history. Archimedes did not create the thermoscope. That's not what it is. I just always mispronounce.
Don't tell me too much. I
But
seriously, I'm going to see it hopefully in the next few days. I will murder someone and make it happen. The Eminem said so.
no,
Oh, wait, I've said too much.
I honestly, I'm half tempted to go see it for a third time because I saw it once and I saw it with my kid, and my kids loved it.
I can't get my kid to go. I said this Saturday, I said, let's go. I can't get him to watch the original one.
But I think
he sat there like 10 minutes of it.
I think what's so funny about it to me is, and I'm just going by what I read online. I don't assume why the person that didn't like it, that we both worked with, doesn't like it. I won't assume that. But I've read a lot of people say, "Oh, it's woke," and the dialogue online is fascinating to me because in this is a scene from the trailer where she goes, "Well, I take it, and that's just capitalism," and somebody literally said, "Well, that's proof that this is a woke film and all that." I'm like, whoa. Go back and watch Crystal Skull. Ray Winstone has the exact same line. That's not a new line. That's an homage to a previous film.
Yep.
And I was like, so why aren't you mad at that one? That nobody was calling Crystal Skull woke. They were calling it terrible.
Well, I don't even think they remember. And we defended Crystal Skull, remember?
No,
I defended it a little bit. It's not a good movie. But the problem is the Shia LaBeouf is miscast, and that third act. Oh my God! It's so.
But I was going to say, and this brings me to this. So before I took my kids to see it, because I do recommend, and obviously you all have seen the Indiana Jones films, but if you've never seen them, you need to watch them because they actually and I won't give anything away. The closing, it really helps if you've seen the movies. It really does. It's meaningful. So I made my kids watch them. I said, I'll take you, but you have to go. You have to watch the movies. I'm not answering your questions in the theater. So they watched them. And when it came to Crystal Skull, especially my eldest loved it. Loved it and thought it was fascinating. Actually thought that Mutt was a fascinating character. I think could have cared less that it was played by Shia LaBeouf because
they have no connection to it.
They have no connection to Shia LaBeouf. It's
don't
not
even
like
know
it
who he
was when that movie came out. But
Right.
they thought it was fascinating that here's this guy that spends his time finding all these things in the dirt but can't keep up with his own child. It's almost a quote from my eldest, and I was like, for an early teen reading of that film, I was like, yes, that's an interesting.
Not inaccurate.
They loved it. They loved, and so they loved the new one, and my wife loved the new one. But I think it's what you go in expecting, and I will admit, no, it is not a flawless film. I won't say that it is, but I enjoyed it. I really did, and I enjoyed the fact. And some people are like, "Well, he's cranky the entire time." I'm like, "Yes, he's playing an Indiana Jones that is in. Even the character is supposed to be in his late 70s, and he's having to give up everything that he did, because he's in his late 70s. And that's
I
a realistic film to me that I enjoyed. And I think Mangold, who did Logan,
yeah.
I think we got Logan for Indiana Jones. And
That's
and
what
a
I
lot
was.
of
That's
people,
what I was going to ask you. Is that's what I thought it was? I'm like, is this Logan but with Indiana Jones?
yeah, no, I mean, it's obviously he's true to the character, and that's what I don't get. Now, I do know I was reading the other day that they did reshoot something about the ending, and once you all see it, I want to know if you what your conspiracy theory is about what they changed about the ending. But honestly, and I think the other part about it is, which I don't get, is Phoebe Waller.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Bridger.
yeah, thank you. I don't.
He was one of the writers too, right?
Yeah,
Did she write on it as well?
I think so. And a lot of people are like, it's the same thing that people were angry about. Well, it tries to set her up to replace him. That's the same argument people had about Mutt. It's setting up Mutt to become the new. I watched that movie and never once thought, oh, they're going to spin this off into her franchise. I never thought that.
I
Never
thought
once.
that's what they were going to do with Shia. I will admit that. I will thought that.
But in Crystal Skull's defense, the hat does it, and he grabs the hat, puts it right back on his damn head, and walks out.
Mhm.
Yep. So no, I don't get it, but I'm a little bummed. I mean, I really am kind of sad because obviously films that don't make money don't get revisited
This,
as well.
yeah, no, they just
Right.
don't. But
And so I don't want. I'm happy with the way, if this is the last Indiana Jones film that we see, I'm okay with how it ended. But
It has to be the last one.
oh, it has to be the last one with Harrison Ford. I had hoped that it would do well enough. And I'm just going to be blunt, that when Spielberg and Lucas and all the time, that some studio exec would say, "Boys, what do we got?" and they do another. I'll just be blunt. That no franchise is ever left dead for too long.
Mhm.
I mean, I
We
agree.
still get Flash Gordons every blue moon. There's a Sci-Fi Channel
we're
series.
still going to
Flash
get
Gordon.
another damn Tron.
Yeah, and thank God for that.
Why? I'll
Why?
stand by. Tron Legacy is a better movie than the first original Tron.
Tron Legacy's fun. It doesn't make a lick of sense, but boy, it's fun.
no,
Neither did the first one.
No, but
no,
it's fun. It is, as someone once said to me. I went and saw Tron Legacy with someone, and the movie was over, and I was like, "That was fun." And they looked over at me and was like, when I was a kid, I watched the first one. The idea of being sucked into a computer is, oh man, how amazing would that be? And he goes, now I realize at that time, whenever Tron Legacy first came out, whatever age we were,
been a long time.
he said, I now I realize that wouldn't be fun at all. And that was his entire review of the movie. And I'm like, man, I just let it go. I had a blast. And I think that's it. I think that's part of my issue is, like, to me, the Indiana Jones film felt authentic. It
Yeah,
felt like,
and that's what you're looking for. That was a problem, and that's another problem with Crystal Skull and especially when it gets to the second half of the movie, it doesn't really feel like an Indiana Jones film to me.
well, and I actually, when I rewatched it with the kid, I was like, you know what? Who credit for their role in this? John Hurt. John
Yeah,
Hurt played that role well.
yeah.
I'm brilliant, but there's something wrong. I'm possessed, or I'm affected, I'll say. And so no, so anyway, I just want to say, and again, if I get hate in the comments, I get hate in the comments. It's fine. But I don't identify with Ethan Hunt as a character. It's one step above. I enjoy watching the film,
Mm-hmm.
but it's in the same oeuvre, slightly elevated by some of the writers and directors, I will admit. But
Yeah.
it's the Triple X film with Vin Diesel, which, by the way, I also loved when I saw it in theaters.
Oh,
But
really?
oh, dude, the Triple X had a great soundtrack, and it was, I didn't go to see
Remember.
Triple X expecting to leave. When everybody's like, "Oh, he's going to be the new James Bond," I didn't believe that at all. I wanted a movie where things blew up. I wanted exactly what Vin Diesel films deliver, and I got it. I had a good time.
Triple X was a bad version of if looks could kill.
Isn't If Looks Could Kill a bad version of them?
Nope, that's actually good. Triple X, not so much.
That's a good version of that.
Yep.
I just want
So
to make
wait,
sure I'm
now
getting all this
I
stuff
need.
straight.
Well, now wait. So Triple X was a bad version of If Looks Could Kill, and If Looks Could Kill is a bad version of A View to a Kill.
What's a bad version of A View to a Kill?
If Looks Could Kill.
What's a good version of A View to a Kill?
I don't know, probably Thunderball.
I was going Moonraker.
Moonraker. Yeah, Moonraker. I mean, once again, by the way, this is an entire subplot we could do, best Bond villains, and I still argue View to a Kill has one of the best Bond villains in one of the not best Bond movies.
So those are the two. There was something else. Damn it, we got off on topic about my stupid whatever. Oh, yeah, that one too. And I completely forgot the third thing I wanted to talk about. Although I am kind of sad that Indiana. I'm with you. I haven't even seen it yet. It would not have occurred to me that Indiana Jones would come out on 4th of July weekend and open at number one, but barely open at number one and get beat by a small film the next weekend and just kind of languish. It just didn't occur to me.
Well, and so that was my moment, and the reason I kind of went off on that tirade is you did the Star Trek. I became so old.
Yeah,
and so
out of touch is really, I guess, what I'm thinking is Indiana Jones even? Why do we still have the spectacular show at Hollywood Studios? Is it even relevant? I mean, there's a lot of stuff at Disney that's not relevant that people just keep because that they go and they want their kid to have the same experience they do when they take them to Disney. And
you're not besmirching Country Bears, are you? Because I'll burn you.
I do. I actually enjoy Country Bears. I'm glad it was there, but my kid gave me nonstop crap when I told him we're going to ride the best, greatest ride at Disney. And he didn't realize that of course, he was only 4. It wasn't even 5 at the time. He didn't realize that this was all a ruse.
Actually, you could have really punished him then. Oh, you didn't like that? Well, let me make it up to you. Come on, let's go to the Tiki Hut.
We did the Tiki Hut. We've done the Tiki. I actually enjoy the Tiki Hut too.
Well, I did too. Actually, the last time we were there, everybody was saying they were hot, they were tired, and all that stuff. And I'm like, come on, I got a ride
right over there. That's the ride.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, I enjoyed my time in the Tiki Hut.
Oh, and the Tiki room. Yep,
Which
I agree. So, Chad, you've been quiet.
It's just honestly, I've disagreed with everything you all have said, and I haven't had a chance to chime in.
Well, no, go ahead. What did we get wrong?
I mean, no, where to begin?
You love Mission Impossible more than Indiana Jones film?
No, that's the only thing I've agreed with you about. What I don't agree with is I don't enjoy those films. I just get bored. There's nothing about those films that entertain me. It's just Tom Cruise doing stunts. I've never enjoyed them. I've seen every one, and I couldn't tell you anything about any of them. The only one I could tell you what happens in is the first one, which I actually enjoy, and part 3, because when I had a gym membership, that was playing every morning at 6 a.m. when I went into the gym theater and ran.
Well,
but but no, but I don't have the problem you all have. The problem I have I do agree with James, is fantasy and sci-fi. Like, that's movies that I really enjoy. I have not had one in a long time that I have truly enjoyed and actually gone back and rewatched. But I've seen plenty of movies over the course of let's say 5 years, where I have rewatched numerous times and enjoyed.
Man,
over and over.
I can't.
I could. Yeah, I mean, Nobody, the John Wick films.
I like them, but none
Lincoln, of them. Which I don't know if that's 5 years or not. But Sorry to Bother You, Dave Made a Maze. There's a bunch of movies that I enjoy watching over and over again.
I like Dave Made a Maze, but at the same time, I never want to go back to revisit it again. Lincoln's a pretty good movie. I mean, there's several. I enjoyed Cabin in the Woods, something that I could rewatch. The Evil Dead.
That's more than 5 years. We're almost. God, is that almost 15 years now, guys, for Cabin in the Woods?
Probably. The Evil Dead remake's over 10 years too, and I actually really enjoyed that, and I thought that that probably was more. I know I love horror films. I don't know that horror films are my favorite movies, but
Cabin in the Woods is 12 years old.
But that was more of, I can't believe they did it this well, because I thought it was a stupid idea to begin with.
Yeah, and
it just turned out so well that I think I've rewatched that a few times. But
and not only do I enjoy new movies, and I don't get me wrong, guys, there is a glut where I'm like, damn, is this all there is? But every now and then I will find a gem, which like I said, I had granted this year has been very, very slow. Other
Now-
than Sisu and hold on, what was the other one? Think of Chad. Think. Polite society. Sisu and Polite Society.
Now, when you find a gem, would you say that it's outrageous? Truly, truly outrageous.
But
that's a 1% joke.
on
If you enjoyed that, folks, make sure you follow our podcast. That's what we've got.
But
no, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I just gonna say, and I also really enjoy like Joe not being able to find a movie on Tubi. It just astonishes me because I will get on Tubi.
Well, I found shit tons, Chad, but there wasn't a damn horror film that was.
Once
I get through
the fact that you haven't reviewed,
that I got through Puppet Master 46, as I
review
just kept
Feast.
flipping.
I can't review Feast. Everybody, you love Feast. Review Feast. It's on Tubi.
Well, I've seen Feast though. Actually,
You've seen Halloween 3.
Yeah, but I was looking for something else. I just wanted to, and I was trying to find something. But Feast is more of a. Actually, I think I may have done Feast 2 and Feast 3 for Steer.
Okay.
I think I may have actually already done that.
I don't know if I knew that there was a Feast 3, guys. I don't know if we did. We
Oh, really?
We watched it together.
Okay.
Yeah,
well, I know
we
watched Feast 1 and Feast 2, but I couldn't remember if we watched Feast 3 together. I didn't know there was.
Yeah,
because
Feast 3 has that person that was in the bathroom the whole time.
I don't remember.
I don't barely remember it too. They're really low budget.
But no, I mean,
yeah, there's a ton of shit on Tubi, Chad. But I mean, I'm serious. You were going through it, and it was the 46 damn Charlie Band produced Puppet Master demonic toy thing. As you're going, I went through 30.
I don't have that problem.
Joe, just next time rewatch Spit on.
They don't show you those movies when you're going through the horror films.
Sometimes, yeah, but I don't know. Tubi's recommendations for me are spot on. Like I can always go, oh, I would like to watch this.
Sorry,
I'll tell you the only thing.
Let me pretend I'm the algorithm real quick for Chad. What has nobody watched in 30 years? Yeah, recommend it to him.
Well, they did get one. I watched the first 20 minutes of Schlock. I'd actually never seen John Landis's Schlock, and I got through 20 minutes of it and realized that I need to finish this, but it's beginning to be a little bit. Actually,
I didn't know it was. I didn't know it was on Tubi. I don't know if I can make.
Well, there you go, Chad. We're obviously on two different Tubis on two different moons.
And not to get too much, but yeah, seriously, the whatever the algorithm for Tubi is better than any of the pay for. I mean, the Netflix recommendations. I'm like, I don't really care to watch any of this. Same with HBO Max. Well, Max now they've completely trashed that streaming service. Peacock, like none of them actually recommend things that I'm interested in watching. But Tubi, damn straight, I could probably find 3 or 4 recommendations if I go over there and open the app. I'm like, I would like to watch this again.
I don't know that they've trashed Max, so I'm going to go be argue with you on this one. The thing is that they've added a bunch of shit I just don't care about, but they still have all the Turner Classic movies and
they've made it harder to find. It's like the whatever they've done to it. And yes, they have removed content. It's not the wealth of films that I used to be able to find anymore, in my opinion.
No, I will say though, and speaking of things that I have enjoyed, have you all watched that first 100 years of Warner Brothers documentary?
No, it's on there, but I haven't watched it.
I watched the first one, and I didn't realize if you want, and I'm amazed they haven't made it into a film. They should. Warner Brothers should air their dirty laundry and make a historical film about it. How just the brothers.
They were awful, right?
Yes and no. Like there's 4 of them. One of them worked himself to death to make sure that audio and video got synced. And if you watch it, you'll see exactly what I mean. He literally, before their first quote unquote talkie, their first musical that was a talkie, he wanted it to be so epic, which I believe was a jazz singer. I may be misremembering. But he died. He was only sleeping about 3 hours a day for months because he personally wanted to supervise it to make sure it worked. And he died the day it premiered. And Al Jolson, and by the way, Joe, you'll be glad to know they do connect Al Jolson from the Looney Tunes to Al Jolson. They show the clip and they said, and it actually is very interesting because that's why they started doing the cartoons, is they wanted to advertise their movies in theaters by using the shorts, which is how that one got made. Anyway, I say all that to say that it's he died, and then at the end, of the first episode, it goes into the business side of it, to where the three remaining brothers, they were supposed to step down, all of them at once, and the youngest brother betrayed them. I mean, it's almost biblical. It is almost a biblical level of betrayal, because he went, no, we're all going to sell out. And at the last minute, he had brokered a behind the scenes deal saying that he would take over full control of the studio and serve as their CEO, basically, but they would sell out. And so his brother didn't find out that he had betrayed the other two brothers until it came out in the trades, and it gave him a heart attack and he died.
Hmm.
And the younger brother wouldn't even attend the funeral. It is a fascinating,
I'll check it out.
compelling. I couldn't stop watching. It was one of the most just, like, and even my wife was like, "Oh, man, that's messed up," and I'm like, "Isn't it?" But it ends, Joe, as we often talk about, with the rise of the people, because when he took over as CEO, the episode ends with him being so out of touch, because he still believes in that old Hollywood system, that when this young upstart Warren Beatty makes a film called Bonnie and Clyde, he sends notes saying, "Shut it down. I don't believe this will ever make money," and they just ignored it.
Yeah.
So yes, he finally got full control of the studio they wanted, but he was a figurehead. They just ignored, like they even say, "No, we ignored every note he ever sent." He didn't matter. He had control, but ultimately it would be like, "Well, you're so far in, just go ahead and finish up. We just won't tell him."
Yeah.
And then he'll say, "Well, we got to release it. It's done."
I need to go watch that, because that actually sounds interesting to me.
Oh man,
But
it was brutal.
I'm gonna flip and talk about something, because you mentioned, the brother who died because of the audio syncing. That's one of my favorite scenes from Babylon, which I still don't understand why it gets such hate and vitriol, other than that last act.
I watched all of it, and I laughed so hard the first hour and a half.
Whenever it, like, that turn.
But it is a bizarre movie.
It is.
With a very bad case of, and I forgot what the term is, and maybe Chad, you may know what it is, but prescribed or whatever it is, when that character is going to go. For example, there's a major character goes to his room, shoots himself. You can see it coming from 4 miles away. It's like it made him do it. It's bad, lazy writing.
Telegraphing. Is that what you're talking about?
Telegraphing. Yeah. Telegraph. Thank you.
Yeah. No,
it was so awful. But at the same time, and then the last 20 minutes is a montage.
Yeah. And then also, like I said, that whole third act where everything goes batshit crazy.
Like a Saw movie almost.
Yeah. I was like, what the hell is that?
Dark.
That, I agree. First off, I knew that scene was going to happen, like you, a long time before it happened.
It was so poorly written that it's so poorly written. It makes no sense. It's so poorly written.
But I love everything in that movie about that filmmaking at that time, and the scene where they're trying to record audio for the first time.
Mm-hmm. No, there's a lot of laugh out loud scenes.
That whole scene is magical to me, where they're like, okay, we're going to put audio in this movie. It's our first time doing it, and just the insanity that is going on, take after take after take, and I just loved it. But yeah, no. But the movie is flawed, but it doesn't deserve the hate that it gets, in my opinion.
I mean, I will never watch it again, but
I will watch scenes in it again, like the scene I just mentioned.
But nobody particularly gives a bad performance. It's so. Oh, and then he walks into that theater with Singing in the Rain, and it's and then the montage. Oh, James, you need to
Babylon.
But the problem is it's oh my God, it's way too long. It makes.
It's 3 hours and 10 minutes, right?
Oh God, and he's right. It is terribly telegraphed. There's parts of it that would have come out of Mrs. Johnson third grade class of, oh my God, you know what he's going to do next?
Well, my entire thing, by the way, is I was much more interested in seeing Amsterdam. Is that the other one? Amsterdam?
Yeah, I like Amsterdam too. I like Amsterdam.
I haven't got to see it yet, but honestly, and so the joke people were making for a brief blip online was, which failed Margot Robbie film do you want to see?
Yeah.
Babyloner. Um, but no, it seems like we're talking about what we've enjoyed and what we've struggled with, and I will say one thing that I keep waiting for, and I know some people it has made angry, but you can't keep everybody happy. Honestly, I did want to say I keep waiting because I grew up on Star Trek the original series, and I'm waiting for Strange New Worlds to peeve me off,
It
and it
hasn't.
hasn't.
Are
It
you caught up?
hasn't. Oh
Are
my
you?
God! I've got 5 minutes left on
Hold
the
on.
most
Once
recent
again, there's
episode.
always an argumentative bonehead. I am so kind of bored with this season.
I don't know how you could be. It
The
is.
Kirk episode was okay.
Well,
I'm.
I think
But
as a
I don't know. But once again, my malaise of yeah. I really enjoyed the first, but yeah.
my fanboy alarm went off, and I don't think I'm giving away, but y'all can stop me if I am, because there was a moment in the
By the way,
most recent episode. Are you caught up,
spoilers.
Chad?
I'm caught up. I'm just saying spoiler to our listeners. If you haven't caught up with Star Trek:
I'm not caught
Strange
up,
New World, you may need to skip ahead. But if
Well,
Joe's not caught up,
only
but
about
that's
20
okay.
seconds, because all I was going to say is there's a scene in this episode where literally it's a throwaway scene realistically if you don't know anything about the original series, where Kirk walks in and technically he's seen him on a view screen before, but he meets Pike in person for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, "Congratulations on your promotion to Fleet Admiral." And Pike says, "It's temporary, but thank you." And it kind of goes on from there. I immediately went, "Oh, oh, oh, oh." It was a geek moment for me because in the original series, in the episode that has Pike after he's injured,
Yeah.
there is a line where it says, "Oh, had you ever met Captain Pike before his accident?" And Kirk's line back, played by William Shatner, is, "I met him briefly, immediately after he was promoted to fleet captain."
Mm-hmm.
And it's a throwaway, but it worked perfectly. And I'm like, that's a 3%.
Yeah,
I
I
was going
get
to say, how did you even,
that's
James? Man,
Dude, I went to a Star Trek convention and placed third in a trivia contest. And it was one of the national huge Star Trek
I didn't
conventions.
even. I mean, obviously, I didn't catch that. I was just like, oh, it's yeah.
it's
No,
not
no,
it's not as on the head as the con ones.
no, no, no.
By the way, that's the other. Oh man,
What?
and maybe we could spend a few minutes. James can explain to me. So there's a Khan, one of the Khan's ancestors on this ship.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I may not be remembering this right, but Kirk obviously has relations with her. So that implies that Kirk knows about the eugenic wars.
Well,
But yet in the original series, when they run into Khan they have no idea who he is.
well, they don't know what he looks like, right? I mean, because a lot of that stuff. But the thing about that is
Because that's been bothering me till no end. I'm like, how? This is like I understand you can't watch TV shows with continuity, and I usually don't. But something about this one is really bothering me.
well, one thing I love though about the comparison. So it used to be that people get online and say, "Oh, the comparisons between Kirk and Picard." Oh, Kirk is risky and all that stuff. But if you're a fan of the shows, it's actually in their youth they're
James
flipped.
is cheating. He's looking up stuff on his phone.
I was looking up yes, because I'm trying to get the exact quote. But so the line is that Kirk, if you go back and watch the original series, he was an academic in his youth, and it's not till he's a captain or a first officer that he does anything really brave and bold.
Oh, let me act like an immature asshole. Tell me to watch the original episodes again.
You probably should.
No.
I mean, but because it's if you watch the original series, he was picked on at the academy because he wasn't one of the cool kids. Finney picked on him. He was referred to as a walking history book with legs because he loved to study history. All of these things. And if you go back and watch The Next Generation, Picard got in a knife fight with a bunch of Nausicaans knowing he was going to lose.
Right.
Yeah.
Picard mellows as a captain. Kirk goes the opposite way. And I think that's a fascinating juxtaposition. So I think that's one of the reasons I'm interested in Strange New Worlds. And I did appreciate the scene in
my question.
I appreciated the scene in some of the more recent episodes where we are getting to see a little bit more of quote unquote Lieutenant Kirk. And particularly loved the scene, and it actually made me think of even the Kelvin universe where the brothers have that brief confrontation. And I won't give anything away, but you know the scene I'm talking about, Chad, if you're caught up, because it's a really great scene of, oh, yeah, that's a complication. They're both living in a sort of shadow that they're having to deal with that we've never really had a conversation about.
Yeah. No, I Strange New Worlds is, I have just enjoyed every minute of it. Yeah, I mean, it's Star Trek the way it should be. And I have only gotten through half of for the first episode of the last season of Picard because I'm bored and I can't make myself watch it.
I enjoyed Picard.
I will eventually get to it.
The third season is not great, but much better than the second season.
But it's helped along by the Next Generation cast being back together.
It's helped along by the Next Generation cast and Amanda Plummer.
Yeah. And, Amanda Plummer. Much fun.
The last season of
Not giving anything away, Chad, but Amanda
I didn't know
Plummer,
she was in it, so you gave something away.
Well, it doesn't.
She's basically the villain, Chad.
She's the bad guy. And
if Amanda Plummer's going to be anything, she's always going to be the villain.
Well, no. Well, yeah, but she's the most. Well, actually, she gives probably the best performance of anybody on the show.
Well,
including Patrick.
I will eventually watch it. It's just it's the only Star Trek show where I've actually gone, man, I'm bored, and I like Voyager.
Yeah. By the way,
I've been bored several times, and I've watched a lot.
I'll be honest. I'm sad to see that we're not going to get Prodigy on Paramount Plus finished, and
they're dropping it.
Oh, they've already removed it. You can't even watch it anymore.
I didn't finish it. I didn't get a chance to finish it.
Oh, you should have. You should have. I actually really enjoyed it. It got better as it went along, and I actually got to where I cared about those characters, even though it is aimed more at kids. But there were a couple things they did with those characters where I'm like, oh, I mean, they were addressing in ways that were still kid friendly the fact that these kids were slaves.
Yeah.
And they went from being slaves to having this opportunity, and then I won't say spoiler because, quite frankly, unless you find them on DVD, you ain't gonna watch them anyway.
I don't get me wrong. I'm not bad mouthing Prodigy. It was just one of those ones where I watched it. I watched the first half of the first season with, and then I'm like, then when they start releasing episodes, I'm like, I'll get to it eventually. And I just never did. And the next thing you know, they dropped it.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of those tax write-off things, and it peeves me off because, quite frankly, now it's winning all these awards after they got rid of it.
Yeah.
And they've already finished the second season, and they're trying to pawn it off on somebody. But I'm like, well, odds are it's not going to get a third season, which is a shame. I thought they were doing, because I think actually, and this goes back to Strange New Worlds, I think we're getting Star Trek now that addresses the fact that Star Trek itself has problems.
Yeah.
We got the Strange New World episode where it's like, well, yeah, listen, Star Trek talks about equality for everybody, but at the same time, they have all these rules saying, well, you can't be genetically modified, you can't be X, you can't be Y, and it's because of an old hatred of eugenics. Which, yes, that was terrible. It's terrible that there was a eugenic war and that Khan killed all those people. At the same time, it is also, you can't say, well, just because you had genetic modification done, you're now your bloodline's tainted forever. How does that work? What does that mean? And so I do enjoy, by the way, you mentioned the Khan character. The Khan descendant, Noonien Singh, in Strange New Worlds. And I actually appreciate that because I think it's a great way to remind people that Khan's namesake, Genghis Khan, what is the statistic on that? Something like 3/4 of the human population have some of his DNA somewhere in them.
I mean, true?
It's not 3/4, but I think it's 1/4. But he conquered all of the known world at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Or not all of it, but you know what I mean. A good percentage of it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, his, or at least quote unquote, his group's DNA would have been, let's just say, spread far and wide.
Right.
So,
well,
but I guess, what I was going to say, I guess in the grand scheme of things, to wrap this up, we've talked about our ennui and what, that we're finding little bits of enjoyment here and there. What are you looking forward to for the rest of the year?
We do this on the, I don't have a lot. I mean,
you call me off guard. There's a bunch of smaller films that I'm looking forward to seeing.
I can tell you one right now. I didn't realize I needed till I saw the international clip they released. The new Godzilla film from Toho.
Yeah, so you shared it. Yeah.
I want to see that. I didn't realize how bad I wanted it till I saw that, and I'm like, nah, I want to see that. I want to
I
see an
mean,
old school Godzilla film.
The Voyage of the Demeter is finally the
I
final
want to see that.
Demeter is
Yeah.
finally coming out. That's been in development for 20 some years. It's a cool story. There's been so many directors and
And
writers.
who's the director that did get it out?
I don't know, but I mean, there's a ton of people. So, but I mean, I don't have a lot of hope for it, but I'll check it out. It'll definitely be something for the review. And there's got to be something. I actually didn't hate the Willy Wonka trailer as much as everyone else did. As specifically, the Hugh Grant part of it made me giggle. So
Yeah, no, it's from the guy. It's from King, the guy,
Autopsy.
the Paddington films. I mean,
yeah,
I'm going to. I don't like Wonka, but I will watch it because he made it.
By the
Because I
way,
want to see his spin.
I knew there was a reason I wanted to see the Last Voyage of the Demeter, and that's because it's by Andre. I'm sure I'm getting this. Overdahl, who directed the Autopsy of Jane Doe.
Yeah.
That was enough
That's a
when I
good
saw
movie.
that he had done that, because I knew the director did something where I'm like, I got to see it after I saw that.
Yeah.
Because while I did call the end of the Autopsy of Jane Doe, I still enjoyed the heck out of the Autopsy of Jane Doe.
Well, that's a movie that's really well made with just two really good actors.
Yeah.
Also, I
So-
think that was my last problem I have with Clerks 3 was there's scenes in it those boys just didn't pull off performance wise. There's a couple that they did, but there's several more that they didn't.
So if you ask me, I'm looking forward to the Turtles movie just because it's the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I'll watch that with my son. I do. I look forward to seeing it with my son. Yes.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, there's that. There's the Retirement Plan with Nicolas Cage, which I'm really interested in seeing. Oh shit. I'm trying to remember what this one. Nandor Fodor and the Talking Mongoose. I really want to see that. It's with Simon Pegg. Have either of you all heard this?
No.
So it's based on a true story about this family who supposedly is haunted, and their house is being what's the word I'm looking for? Haunted by a talking mongoose.
Poltergeist.
And it's a talking mongoose. And Nandor Fodor, I'm butchering the name. He's a psychologist who's enlisted to investigate what's going on at the house. I really want to see that. It comes out September 1st. So yeah, off the top of my head, those are the three that I can come up with. I'm sure there's more, but you caught me off guard and I can't remember.
I've got one more I want to see.
Yeah.
And it's just simply because I think it's going to be fun and it's going to have heart to it. Next Goal Wins. I didn't think I'd want to see it, but then I saw a trailer for it and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to have to see
Next Goal Wins.
What's that?
You not heard of Next Goal? It's Taikeshi yeah.
Yeah, I want to see that.
Watiti's new film. I always mispronounce his name again. I'm sorry. I just can't do names. But the trailer for it sold me on it because it's from the director that lost the Academy Award for Jojo Rabbit, and it's about a team of losers.
By the way, Jojo Rabbit is a really good movie I've saw in the last 5 years.
Yeah, I forgot about Jojo.
America Samoa is based on a true story, based being the key word there. And even the trailer says it's pretty much what happened. They had a soccer team that had never scored a goal. Like they knew they weren't going to win. They just wanted to score a goal in an actual competition. And there was a disgraced soccer coach that the trailer just is a lot of fun. That basically it was, you're fired, but the one job we can still get you would be to be their coach. And he's an alcoholic. He's washed up. He's angry all the time. And so, but his only option is to take this job in America Samoa and try to get their team to finally score a goal. And he realizes that they're too terrible to score a goal. I mean, that's the plot to the film.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, oh, it's a master storyteller, because I do think however you feel about him.
Taika Waititi.
Yeah.
Thank you. He is a master storyteller.
It is. James, I thank you for telling. I forgot that was coming out this year. I'm really looking forward to that. So
that's one on my list where I'm like, I think that may actually hit me in the I don't know, heart maybe.
The only problem I have is I'm not a big fan of Michael Fassbender, but anytime Taika Waititi puts him into it, I'm sure it'll be good.
By the way, I wanted to kind of see, but I'm afraid it's going to be a train wreck. But I kind of am interested in Rebel Moon,
No,
but I'm terrified of it too.
no,
I will watch it because even if it is a train wreck, I mean, I still sit through his damn zombie picture.
Well, it's
yeah,
his Star Wars, right? Because he was supposed
Yeah,
to do a Star Wars film, and they didn't like what he did, so he just made it into his own thing.
and his
Yeah.
thing, yeah.
it is, and that's what it is. It's Star Wars, but it's Zack Snyder, and I will watch it because again, I watched that shitty zombie film and it about drove me crazy. I will watch this too, just because I'm paying for the streaming service.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll waste my Christmas day watching it, but I'll watch it.
Well, it depends on what it's rated. If I can get depending on how violent or whatnot.
Well, I'm sure it's going to be PG-13 or R.
Yeah, I don't know. If it's something I can watch with a kid.
But
probably.
now, Chad, would it make you feel better if halfway through it starts to rain and zombies pop out of nowhere and move because he set up that there'd be moving
And
zombies?
there's
in the
that
rain?
guy who goes, "Told you."
Oh my god, that movie. I want to know the person who likes that movie.
Dude, he has all these people. And by the way, I did, I don't know if you all heard this. I assume I sometimes make the mistake of assuming people read as much crap online as I do, or as much behind the scenes. But I didn't know there's a Schumacher cut.
Yeah, I didn't either till I read about it.
And I would rather see the Schumacher cut than the Snyder cut of anything.
I would love to see the Schumacher. I would love to see it.
Yeah, give me that.
And I believe Kevin Smith owns a copy of it. And I wish Kevin Smith would let me watch it.
The other thing, since we're actually we chanced on this, and I know we'll close up in a minute because we about hit our hour, but
We more than hit.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
But there's a debate that was happening online, and I know I do most of the tweeting for Bonehead, so you all may not see it, but a lot of people are arguing, should they have used George Reeves in the Flash film when it shows the multiple universe spoilers, I guess.
It didn't bother me.
But some people are like, that some people say that's a factor of why he committed suicide was he was always Superman. He never got to break away from playing Superman. And so there's this debate going on. And some people even said, should they have used Christopher Reeves? And I was like, yeah, Christopher Reeves probably would have been okay with it. I would imagine.
But, Joe, so you've seen it, James?
I have not. I've seen that scene. I've seen that scene. Let me tell you why I've seen that scene, Joe or Chad. All of a sudden, people literally started sending me clips of that scene. Just that scene, because they're like, hey, that thing you always wanted to happen, it's in the movie.
Yeah,
and I guess spoiler, I guess.
Why would people do that to you? I was not telling you specifically because I was waiting for you to see the movie.
Honestly, I will eventually see the movie because I know that's in there. Because I'll be honest, Chad, I wanted to see it, but then I read what Batgirl was, or Batwoman. Is it Batwoman or Batgirl that we didn't get?
Batgirl.
And I'm now more upset that we didn't get Batgirl.
Yeah.
It made me more upset that we didn't get Batgirl. And I think it's honestly, I would like to think the reason Flash isn't doing well is his angry Batgirl fans that said, hey, if you're going to take from us, we're going to take from you.
No, there's.
Because, but anyway, I will see it eventually. I'll watch it with my son because he loves all comic book films. But I even asked him if he wanted to go see it in the theater, and he goes, maybe. And then he opted to see Indiana Jones instead. So, oh well.
There you go.
I'll see it at home eventually. But no, that's been a debate as well, as when is it okay to use dead actors in multi-universe films, I guess.
Yeah.
But there's sometimes when I'm like, oh, it makes perfect sense. I loved it in Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow, where they used Laurence Olivier. Mm-hmm. That worked really well for me. It didn't bother me at all. But I do see how some people could say, George Reeves probably would not want you to use him just as Superman. Though it means a lot to a lot of people. I don't know. That was just my last offhand comment on our no topic on We episode.
And with that, Bonehead Weekly. Tune in next week for
Yeah, we'll eventually get somebody else come on. Though we have been told by Mick that if we have people on, he doesn't care.
Listen. This has been Bonehead.